What's going on, world? This is your boy Reggie Walker. Welcome to a Week 10 edition of 100 Yards and Running. This week, your boy is by himself, but I'm holding it down. We had some great games going on this weekend. I'm starting off Thursday night. We had Lamar. We had Joe Burrow. We had the Baltimore Ravens going against the Cincinnati Bengals. This game was going back and forth. It was to be expected, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to the viewers who's watching. Shout out to the future viewers who will be watching. Shout out to my brothers at the Family Meeting Podcast. But let me get to this game right here. Baltimore and Cincinnati. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, they put on a they put on the game to be expected. Unfortunately, the Ravens pulling off the upset, winning by a score of 35-34. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens did what they're supposed to do. They had a divisional game and they won it. They utilizing their back in Derrick Henry, like we've been saying all week. If Baltimore take their time and use Derrick Henry, the sky's the limit for that team. And look what they are now. They're 7-3 going into Thanksgiving weekend with a 7-3 record. And very impressive. Sunday morning, and this is going to discuss a lot of New York Giants fans, but this should have been an easy win for them, but unfortunately it wasn't. The New York Football Giants going to Germany Sunday morning, playing host to the Carolina Panthers, where they tried. I'm not going to put up a big front. They tried to do their thing. Daniel Jones, it's just not the right team for
You know what I'm about to say. Daniel
him.
Jones stink. I don't understand why. Oh my God. I'm sorry, brother. This is you.
No,
Daniel
no,
Jones.
you're good. Yeah, I gotta agree with my brother right there because this should have been a win for the Giants. Unfortunately, they went to overtime. The Panthers winning with the Giants turning over the ball in overtime with the score of 20-17. Bryce Young is trying to fit in. He's trying to prove that he's that number one draft pick he was a year ago. Unfortunately for me, and this is in my eyes, I think Carolina is not that place for Bryce Young right now. Maybe if he fits himself into another organization, he can probably prosper and be the quarterback that we know Bryce Young can be. Sunday, we had the Kansas City Chiefs, undefeated Chiefs, going against the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs pulling it off with the field goal, blocking the field goal that possibly could have won them the game. But Kansas City, being the team that they are, staying undefeated, going 9-0, winning by a score of 16-14. Here's my take on Kansas City. They are this year's New England Patriots. And I say that because Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, he was seen talking to the referees, talking about let him know when his defender is on the ball. So this way he can know what to do when the next play comes. To me, this is New England all again. Everybody's finding a way to cheat. Everybody's finding their way to win. Patrick Mahomes is this generation's Tom Brady. Travis Kelce is this year's Rob Gronkowski. Now, the receivers that Patrick Mahomes have around him, can he blossom and find those receivers? That's why they went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. They needed a big-time receiver. Receivers was dropping left and right. Juju Smith-Schuster going down with an injury. Isaiah Pacheco, the running back of the Chiefs, going down. They bring in Kareem Hunt, and now the Chiefs are still undefeated. Who's going to beat them? Can Buffalo do it next week? That's to be determined. To me, I think that's going to be a good game. The Steelers. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers this week because they played, and I've been ragging on them too. I've been ragging on Mike Tomlin, talking about he don't know who to start, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. He gave Fields a chance, and now we seeing Russ cook. And he went up against Jaden Daniels, one of the future quarterbacks in my eyes, who's going to take the Commanders on a whole different level. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh getting the upset, winning by 1 with the score of 28-27. Now, we had a lot of close games this week, man. And I got to say, this is the best week in the NFL that I've seen in a long time, where these teams are going out, they balling out down the field. Justin Fields is sitting there taking notes on Russell. Russell Wilson is taking his time. He's showing that he can be that elite quarterback just like he did in Seattle when they won the Super Bowl under Pete Carroll, doing his thing. And now we're seeing Russ cook in Seattle. And I mean, not in Seattle, in Pittsburgh. We're seeing Russ cook in Pittsburgh. And with Mike Tomlin being his coach and that defense getting better, let's see what Pittsburgh could do in the playoffs. They could be dangerous. That's just my opinion. The Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 12-7. It's Jacksonville. They have not been the same. I get that they got Doug Peterson as their coach. I get that he won a championship in Philadelphia. But let's face it, this is not Philadelphia anymore. This is Jacksonville. You got a young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. You bring in Mac Jones from New England. So you want to see how Trevor Lawrence can take you before you bring in Mac. This is a problem in Jacksonville. You're never going to the playoffs. You haven't been there since Maurice Jones-Drew was your quarterback, and not quarterback, your running back, and Blake Bortles was your quarterback. That's sad in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, the Vikings are showing that they could be a playoff team, pulling the upset, getting the win. Shout out to Minnesota on this one. The Saints and Falcons. New Orleans. What happened to y'all? I mean, y'all firing y'all head coach. Y'all trying to find that draft pick. You're trying to lose as many games as you could possibly lose. But some strange reason, you just had to beat the Falcons. I get it that y'all cannot stand the Falcons. Heck, I don't like the Falcons. But you're going for draft picks here. You got a few first-round picks. You got 2 second-round picks. You got a quarterback and Derek Carr that you don't know who you're going to leave there or not. You got Alvin Kamara, running back that you just extended his contract that you possibly might let go next year just because you got those draft picks. You got receiver Chris Olave. He's not doing anything for your team. Rashid Shaheed, he's all speed, but he can't catch the football. This is the problem in New Orleans. The only thing that's going on good in New Orleans is some of the guys on your defense. I feel sorry for Cam Jordan because he's been there the longest. He's been there with Drew Brees. He's been there through the Super Bowl era with the Saints, and he's still there grinding and riding, trying to get these young guys, ground them up on defense, him and DeMario Davis, along with Tyrann Mathieu, a future Kansas City Chief Hall of Famer, bringing them 3 together, trying to get that defense up, and it's just not working. And this week, y'all said, hey, we're playing the Falcons. Let's go out and beat the Falcons. Kirk Cousins didn't play his greatest game. Your running backs is hurt. Your receivers can't catch the ball. I don't know what's going on with these 2 organizations, but get it together. Get it together. We had the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the returning Christian McCaffrey. This running back was a MVP candidate. We all seen what Christian McCaffrey can do. San Francisco was so glad to have him back, winning by a score of 23-20. They won by a field goal, but let's face it, I was watching this game along with the Pittsburgh game, and San Francisco is so glad to have Christian McCaffrey back. And I'm not sleeping on Mason. He's going to be a great running back. But if you got a running back and you got running backs like Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, and you don't utilize these running backs on your team is set up for failure. But not this week. Christian McCaffrey came back, did his job, 49ers got the win. Buffalo Bills, and this is the only New York team that actually did something this week and actually pulled off a W. Buffalo, even though they played the Colts, I get it that it's the Colts. They don't have Anthony Richardson. He's hurt. Joe Flacco's coming in, a former Jet. He's still a vet in this game, but he's still got an arm, so he's going to launch that ball down the field and get some yards. Unfortunately, he didn't do enough this weekend. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills winning by 10 by a score of 30-20. And it was just a game that Buffalo, they wanted to make put themselves on that playoff aspect too. Make sure they get that W, showing the NFL and showing the world that we can hang with Kansas City too, no matter who's on our team. And I'll take Buffalo, and when they play next week, like I said, I think Buffalo got a chance to give Kansas City their first loss. But I'm not sleeping on Kansas City defense. That defense got better. We'll see as we ride along, ladies and gentlemen. The Patriots and the Bears. Patriots did what they're supposed to do, blowing out the Bears by a score of 19-3. Here's my take on that game. Caleb Williams, he's a rookie. He's getting his feet wet. We've been saying it all week about with these rookies and about what they're doing. Everybody was giving Chicago, oh, he got weapons around him. All the weapons in the world don't mean nothing if you don't have an offensive line that's going to protect your future quarterback that you drafted. No quarterback is just going to sit there in the pocket and not expect to get hit. This is the game of football. It's a contact sport. You are going to get hit. But if a quarterback do not have the right offensive line to protect him, and they got them defensive ends and them linebackers coming in, defensive tackles doing their job in New England, because New England is a defensive team. Let's get it straight. Their offense is not the same no more without Tom Brady. Their defense did what they had to do, and that defense won that game. Moving on, we had the LA Chargers taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers getting the job done. We will see the Chargers coming up soon as they take on a great team coming up next week. But the Chargers getting the job done, winning by another 10-point game, 27-17. Justin Herbert, you got John Harbaugh back. Another great coach. He wasn't a coach. He was in San Francisco. He left, went to Michigan, came back into the NFL. Now let's see what he can do with the San Diego Chargers. The Eagles and Cowboys. Where do I begin with this game? The Eagles blew out the Cowboys at home. Dallas cannot just win a home game. And this score is unacceptable. 34-6. I get it. Dak is out. CeeDee Lamb is hurt. You got Cooper Rush and Russ Trust. Everybody was high on Cooper Rush last year. Not the kids, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. The Eagles went in there and kicked y'all in the mouth at home. And then on top of that, you got Micah Parsons, one of your players that came back on defense, bad-mouthing his own coach. Talking about he don't care if Mike McCarthy leaves. He feels bad for Zach Johnson. I get it that Zach Johnson been there for a while. We get it that Zach Martin is one of them players, that another player, veteran player on Dallas that you feel bad for, Micah Parsons. But Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach. What are you? You want to sit here and badmouth your coach on your team? If that was me, you would be sitting on the bench. I'm not going to have you playing on my field and you badmouthing me, talk about you want to lead. You don't care if I lead, but you want to get on national, you want to get on your radio station, talk about, oh, I wasn't badmouthing Mike McCarthy. Then what were you doing then? Because it sounds to me like you were badmouthing your coach. And that's unacceptable in the NFL. But let's see what's going to happen in Dallas and what's going to happen with the Mike McCarthy situation up in Dallas. Another heartbreaking New York loss. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Football Jets going to Glendale, Arizona, taking on the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, where I knew this was going to happen in Arizona The Cardinals did their job, blowing out the Jets 31-6. Why did we get Aaron Rodgers? Why is Aaron Rodgers here? Now everybody wants to build a team around Aaron Rodgers. You want to sign Devontae Adams. You want to get this player. You want to let Mike Williams go. You want to bring in all these other players on offense and defense, and you're still losing. Jets, hang it up. Hang it up. You're not making the playoffs this season. You might as well draft a quarterback because Aaron Rodgers ain't it. He's old. His time is up. I get that he's a veteran. He's a former MVP. He is not playing like that anymore. Aaron, I feel sorry for you, Jets fans. The curse is still going to continue until you find that right quarterback that's going to sit there and take your team to the next level. It ain't Aaron Rodgers. We haven't had that since Joe Namath. And that's sad. Moving on. This game right here. Sunday night football, we had C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans taking on Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. This game could have went either way. Now, everybody was like high on Jared Goff. He threw 5 interceptions this week. We put him in the MVP candidate. 5 interceptions is unacceptable. But Houston secondary let this game slip away, and you let Detroit come back. Missing a field goal, you had a chance to win the game if that kicker did not miss the field goal. But he missed the field goal. And the Lions came back with Jared Goff leading that team down the field and kicking the game-winning field goal, winning the game 26-23. The Lions, they're here. They're here. This is a slip-up game for Houston. I get that y'all missing some players in D'Amico Ryan as your coach, and you're missing Stephon Diggs, and you're missing Nico Collins in the backfield, one of their best receivers. You're bringing Joe Mixon. C.J. Stroud, what's going on, sis? C.J. Stroud is doing his thing in the backfield, but the Lions defense is just on point. Shout out to my brother watching. He said laying the smack down on all their candy asses. That's what the Lions did to the Texans in the second half. They laid the smack down. And Jared Goff was not playing. He led that team down the field. They did their thing all the way down the field. Lions win the game. Monday Night Football. We had Tua Tagovailoa going against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And Tua and the Dolphins did their job, winning this game by a score of 23-15. Is the Dolphins a playoff team? Possibly. We'll see what they can do. Is the Rams going to get better? Possibly. Matthew Stafford is still an elite quarterback in the NFL. I don't see why not. All the Rams need to do is get some more pieces on that defense. The draft is coming up. These teams got to do what they got to do. Which brings me, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my favorite sessions of the show. My worst quarterback of the week. This week, my worst quarterback of the week goes to New York Football Giants and Daniel Jones. Because it's unacceptable that you let the Carolina Panthers beat y'all. Panthers? They're 2-7. The Panthers? I get it. Y'all were 2-7 going in there too. But the Panthers? Bryce Young? His accuracy wasn't there the whole game, but he did get the ball down the field, and he did what he had to do. Unlike Daniel Jones, who needs to leave that organization. I said this week, too, the Giants quarterbacks are going to stink up MetLife Stadium. You went and got Drew Lock, and he's sitting on the sideline doing what? Absolutely nothing. You taking notes from a quarterback that's staking up MetLife Stadium? That's why Seattle let you go. It's a shame. It's a shame, ladies and gentlemen, on how the Giants are sitting there and they let Saquon walk out the door just to pay Daniel Jones? Come on, y'all. We could have got anybody else in this draft. We could have drafted a quarterback, but I get it. They wanted a wide receiver, so you went out and drafted Malik Neighbors. He's a talented wide receiver, but without a quarterback that can actually do something, what he gonna do in New York? Because Daniel Jones ain't it. Another person I'm putting on this list. He left Minnesota and you went to Atlanta to do what? Kirk Cousins. Thought I forgot about you, Kirk? You win one game and then you come back, you play the Saints. I get that the Saints don't like y'all. I get that y'all got a rivalry going on there. I get that y'all been doing this for decades, but you let the Saints beat you. The Saints are trying to look for their in their position in the playoffs. They bump the playoffs. The Saints ain't gonna make the playoffs this year. Everybody is going to look at that draft class and see what is the hottest quarterback we can draft this year coming out of the NFL, coming into the NFL. Most people are looking at Deion's kid, Shedeur Sanders in Colorado. He doing his thing up there. Other people are looking at Arch Manning, a quarterback in I think Texas that he's going to do. He's going to be an elite quarterback just like his uncle and his uncles Peyton and Eli. Who going to draft him? We'll see. Folks, those are my worst quarterbacks of the week. Here's my most improved quarterbacks to look out for going into week 10. You got to put these quarterbacks in there. I'm going in order. Number one is Patrick Mahomes. Here's why I say Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Because no matter what defense that you put in front of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they are finding ways to win football games. It could be on the offense, it could be on the defense, and last Sunday, we seen it on special teams. Kansas City is going to be one of those dangerous teams going into the playoffs. They got that number one seed down pat. Let's see who won't follow them. Number two on my list, and I'm sorry to say this, is the Baltimore Ravens. Because as long as you got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and you got guys like Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely around those people, around Lamar Jackson, and you let Jim Harbaugh calling the plays, bump that, Lamar calling plays himself. And they're starting to utilize that quarterback, that running back, a running back that Dallas should have signed. Oh, but Jerry Jones, you want to know what he said, ladies and gentlemen? He said Derrick Henry does not fit in Dallas the way that Dallas plays the game. It's kicking you on your ass now because look what he's doing in Baltimore. Now Baltimore's 8-3, and they possibly could be a threat to Kansas City. Another team that could be a threat in Kansas City, you can't sleep on them. I got to put them up there. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, ever since acquiring Amari Cooper, even though they didn't need him to me, they've gotten better. Josh Allen, each year he improves each year and he gets better. He's in the MVP conversation right now, and he's just making the jobs for everybody else on his team better around him because he can scramble, he can run, he can throw the ball down the field, he can find receivers when he needs to find his receivers, and Buffalo is also is a team that can also be a threat in the playoffs and bump out Kansas City. Can it happen? I don't know. Until it do, Kansas City is the kings of the Mount. They're on the Mount Rushmore right now, and everybody's talking about, oh, can they possibly three-peat? With that team right there, And with players coming back, when Isaiah Pacheco come back and Juju come back, and you got DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce, who's going to beat that team? We're going to see. We're going to wait and see. Thursday night, prime time, we have Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles going against Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. The winner of this game takes first place in the NFC East, with Washington losing a heartbreaker to the Steelers. Shout out Steeler Nation. Y'all needed that win. With Washington losing that game, coming into this game to play Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in Philadelphia. To me, Washington getting better with acquiring with Marshawn Lattimore in the secondary. He could be a threat to an A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, but it's going to be tough for the Commanders to pull this one off. I think the Eagles are going to take first place of the NFC East. Not sleeping on the Commanders, not sleeping on Jaden Daniels. I get that he's rookie, and I think Jaden Daniels is going to be rookie of the year. That's just my opinion. But to play Philadelphia and Philly is kind of tough. They healthy, and you got Saquon Barkley back there. We're going to see what the Eagles going to do with this game. Now, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we got big games coming up. We got a lot of football to talk about. I want to get on Dallas right now and Jerry Jones. With CD going out, with Dak going out, you're trying to find the right pieces to go in Dallas. You thought this year was going to happen. You bring back Ezekiel Elliott. For what? Zeke ain't doing nothing for y'all. Zeke ain't never going to do nothing for y'all. You got these Dallas Cowboys fans with the sad look on their face. Are y'all surprised? Because I'm not. It's to be expected. When I saw Dallas's schedule this year, I said they are not making the playoffs. They are not. They're not making the playoffs. The Saints are not making the playoffs. The Giants and Jets ain't sad in New York, except for Buffalo. The rest of the teams, these standings, going into these playoffs, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be tough. It's going to be wicked. My most improved player this week, it has to be Russell Wilson. My most improved player this week is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson coming in, Mike Tomlin giving him time in Pittsburgh to show his talent, to show what he can do, and he's letting Russell Wilson cook. And Russell Wilson is cooking, and Pittsburgh is in first place right now in the AFC North, battling with Baltimore. So the NFC North coming up this weekend is going to be crazy because them two play each other. And this game is going to be great to see. We're going to see what type of plan Mike Tomlin has going into this game, going against Lamar Jackson and those Baltimore Ravens. Now, here's what I'm going to say about this game. Pittsburgh's defense, it's amazing. You got guys like TJ Watt back there who's doing his thing, and they're doing an amazing job. Now, going against Lamar Jackson, you got a quarterback that can give you yards. You got Derrick Henry. If Pittsburgh's defense is not able to stop that 265-pound monster truck, because that's what he's running down. Look at Derrick Henry play, and he's stiff-arming guys, running them down like he's a monster truck. If Derrick Henry averages over 100 yards this game, Pittsburgh lost. Now, I'm not sleeping on Pittsburgh in this game, though, because you are playing in Baltimore, and you got a guy, Najee Harris, that you got from Alabama, who could be a top-10 running back, next to Austin Eckler in Washington and a few other running backs. So I'm not going to forget Sonic and Knuckles in Detroit because Jameer Gibbs and the boys can run. But Derrick Henry, he's the running back that everybody should watch out for this year. If I was any team, I wouldn't want to play Baltimore and Derrick Henry because he's going to run you down and stiff arm you, and he's going to embarrass you, and you're going to be on somebody's highlights sitting on the ground, looking up at the sky, talking about did I just get pushed down by Derrick Henry? They don't call Derrick Henry King Henry for nothing. And Tennessee, this was a big one for y'all losing a player like that after he spent years and breaking records in the Titans. Now he has a team in Baltimore that he could do that with. And he's developing in Baltimore. In my eyes, it might not be this year or it could be this year. I can see the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. It might not if. Keyword. So I got some fans that's going to chop me down my nose. No, he didn't say that. Yeah, I said that. The Ravens could be a threat. They can be a threat. Sorry, Steelers fans, but they can be a threat. I got Lamar Jackson in my MVP candidates. So this week, I'm going to give y'all my top 5 MVPs. The list, it gets fluid every week. So the list is fluid every week. So bear with me now. Number 5 this week is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson. He needed a chance. It didn't work out in Denver. You was under Sean Payton. Everybody wanted to see what y'all going. It just didn't work out. Sean Payton wanted to get that next quarterback he can meant to be the next Drew Brees, and it wasn't Russell Wilson. It might be Bo Nix. Let's see. But I got Russ at number 5. Number 4, moving from number 1 to number 4 this week, is Jared Goff. You came in, you did not throw a single pick going into last week's game against Houston. You didn't have a turnover. You had 5 of them. Like I said, getting y'all these games. Houston, you let a tough one go. Detroit Lions is a threat, and they're 8-1 now. So that watch out for Detroit. Number 3 on my list. I was just talking about this man, and you can't forget about him. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, every year he gets better and better and better. He's this generation's Michael Vick, or better. We all know the type of swag that Mike Vick put in there when he was playing with the Falcons or the Eagles for that matter. It didn't matter what you put in front of Mike Vick. He ran a lot. Don't get me wrong, but he threw that ball down the field. And that's what we're seeing from Lamar. We are seeing Lamar develop to be this generation's Michael Vick. Can he possibly get the Ravens a Super Bowl championship ring? With this team, he possibly can do it. You just got to get better. And the defense, you got Roquan Smith in the back, and all those boys balling. Let's see. You got Marlon Humphrey in the back as well, one of the talented free safeties in the NFL. Let's see what Baltimore can do. Number 2, and this even shocked me. I'm going to put Philadelphia Eagles Jalen Hurts as number 2. Because everybody was ragging on Hurts. Everybody was like, oh, Hurts, he's not going to be able to do it again. Oh, the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to win another Super Bowl. Oh, they're cheating just like everybody else. No one is giving Jalen Hurts his credit, and I'm giving it to him today. Here's why. Nobody can stop that Philly push. No team. When they're on the 1-yard line, and this seems to amaze me every week I watch the Eagles play, that Philly push. No team in the NFL can stop that. I don't know where they get that play from. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a cheat. You got all these guys around the quarterback, and they're pushing him to the end zone. How can you not stop that? The Eagles do it every week. They do it better than any other team. And until somebody stop them, it's going to be interesting to see. They right now first place in the NFC East. They're going against a tough team this week. Let's see what the Eagles can do. Jalen Hurts, you're number 2 on my list. The number 1 most improved quarterback this week. The man is undefeated. I get it. Y'all might say he's a cheater. Y'all might say he's this generation's Tom Brady. Some call him Kermit the Frog. I call him Pat the GOAT. Patrick Mahomes is my number 1 improved quarterback this week. Here's why. Every week, Kansas City find a way to get the job done. That's why they're undefeated now. I know my boy Stevie gonna chop my head off for this one, but it's all right. This is my pick. You ain't here this week, so I got it. Ha ha. So number 1, Pat Mahomes, Kansas City. They just got better. Never mind losing Isaiah Pacheco. Never mind losing Juju Smith-Schuster. You went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. You got Noah Gray back there helping Travis Kelce. That's opening up the field. Then you got Xavier Worthy, one of the fastest. He could be one of the fastest wide receivers since Tyreek Hill. If Kansas City uses him right, everybody's talking about, oh, Brady had Moss. Brady had Wes Welker. Brady had Gronk. Look at the weapons around Patrick Mahomes. Y'all don't see the similarities? Brady had Bill Belichick. Pat Mahomes got Andy Reid. Let's look at the history between Andy Reid and Bill Belichick. When Andy Reid, before he went to Kansas City, he was coaching the Philadelphia Eagles. He had quarterbacks like Donovan McNabb and a quarterback that I just mentioned earlier, Michael Vick, on his team. Every time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, I think it was twice that they went, they played Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. You're playing Belichick, you're playing Brady. You got Gronk. They had Welker. They had guys like Julian Edelman. And this one's gonna bite me in the behind. And I talk about this every time, and it always bit me in the behind. 1 year that I went against the Giants because they had Eli Manning, and they're going against Tom Brady. I was like, no. The Patriots got this one in the bag. They got Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. I said, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. What happens? And not once, but twice. Eli Manning and the New York Giants shocked the world and won 2 Super Bowl rings.
Brody, I got, and this is a funny story too, because I got a Michael Strahan jersey out of it, and I got a Kobe Bryant jersey out of it. So yeah. Yo, you're doing a hell of a show, man. Just let me know when you're ready.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. I still got more to talk about because these coaches and these players, parts you want to go. Oh, and after you get blown out by the Eagles, you want to go in your locker room. You get interviewed. You got reporters in your face. The NFL straight up fixed and rigged, just like in sports. Period. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you there because you are absolutely right. Fuck the Giants and the Jets. I mean, they both suck right now. So,
watch your mouth.
I mean, hey, but let me get back to these players and what they're saying, getting themselves in trouble. Micah Parsons, You are playing for a Super Bowl winning coach and Mike McCarthy. You get blown out by the Eagles.